What's up, everybody? Esoteric Eddie here. Namaste. Welcome to Thursday Q&A, where I read and respond to your inquiries. If you want to be a part of the show, send me something at contact@esotericeddie.com. That email will be in the description. You can also DM me stuff at Esoteric Eddie on Instagram. Just keep the subject line Thursday Q&A so that way I know what to sift through. If you'd like to remain anonymous, please state that. If you'd like a shout out, please state that as well. Thank you.
Today's episode is pretty wild. We're going to be talking about targeted individuals. I'm also going to be getting into some messages about dealing with growing up in a religious family and how to transition out of that, and also how we escape this matrix. Now, I am on vacation out here in Florida. I came out here to do an in-person podcast interview, so I don't have my usual setup. So the camera's different. I don't have my microphone, so please bear with me. But we will still get into some deep esoteric stuff nonetheless. All right, so all three of these inquiries for this episode came to me from Instagram. All right, so let's get into this first message here. I got it from a lovely lady here. She says here, I am a targeted individual who has my mind manipulated via some sort of wavelength technology. I heard your podcast about the two hemispheres of the brain consciousness. Can you recommend how I survive the electronic harassment and shut out what they do to me? It is rumored to be CIA technology, but they target 85% single women and use pain to extort money from us. Any help is appreciated. Well, look, honey, sweetheart, if the reptilians are asking you for money, if the CIA is sending you emails like, help, we're trapped in a cave in Africa and we actually own a lot of land, and if you send us money, we'll give you some of this land and our royalty or whatever. You know what I mean? All those spam emails or whatever, it's probably not the CIA. Probably some dude chilling out in India trying to play you for a fool. But I don't want to dismiss your situation here. A lot of people do believe that they are targeted individuals. And for those of you who do not know what that is, it's a fascinating subject that I may do a deep dive on. There's a lot of videos and documentaries out there, but basically, somebody who believes they are a targeted individual believes that they are being followed by some sort of organization, and also believe that they've sometimes been abducted or that they've had some sort of technology implanted in their brain or body during these abductions or during their sleep. And they think that there are cameras in their home, or they're being followed by cameras and stuff like that. And so this lovely lady here, she's concerned that she's a targeted individual. And so what I said to her verbatim, as I'll read here, is, hello, thank you for reaching out. Wow, I definitely feel for you, and I do. I think the best thing to do is to first come to an acceptance of your situation and realize that you'll have to live under the circumstances that you are in. We all have hindrances in life, but we can't allow them to stop us from enjoying life. Find little ways to be happy and function with the things that bring value to your life. And I'm going to pause there. I wanted to word that to her because this is a very severe situation, and I don't want to dismiss her, but I personally know people who have suffered from schizophrenia. And so there's a thin line between somebody actually being targeted and somebody who's dealing with schizophrenia. And so it's difficult to help these people because you don't want to feed too much into their paranoia, but you also don't want to completely dismiss them. So you want a healthy amount of, going along with what they're feeling, validating with what they're feeling is a better way to put it. You want a healthy balance of validating of what they're going through. And so if this is true, if she is being targeted, if people are, whatever, just out there watching her with binoculars and stuff like that, I mean, so whatever, let them do that. I mean, what harm are you really causing? So if somebody really is watching you and stalking you, you know, that is from some government agency, so be it, whatever. Flip them off, show them how cool you are, walk around stylish, go out there and eat your ice cream, whatever. Don't let it get you down. And I wanted to word it that way because, for one, that's true. I mean, you should just live your life regardless and accept what's coming your way. I mean, if it's the CIA, there's no stopping that. I mean, they're going to do what they want to do. I mean, they're elite at what they do. So, and everybody's tapped one way or another at this point. The entire world is a surveillance state. But another reason I worded it that way is because if this person is dealing with some sort of mental struggle, then I think it's a positive message to tell them, like, hey, just accept it, roll with it, and find ways to enjoy your life regardless. I've witnessed people have mental breakdowns, schizophrenic episodes, and stuff like that. And it's tough, man. I have a best friend that I grew up with who is schizophrenic, clinically diagnosed schizophrenic. And the sad thing is, I knew he was schizophrenic years before he got diagnosed, man. I mean, I love psychology and I'm familiar with all of that. So I knew he was and tried to warn everybody. I tried to tell him, but it was dismissed. But eventually, years later, he got diagnosed by two different doctors and got put on medication. And once his mind got kind of back to normal, he called me and actually thanked me and apologized. So I know from experience that regardless of what you're going through, you got to just try your hardest to enjoy what you can. So getting back to this, and I continued on telling her, under the circumstances, my practical advice to ward off the physical effects, being the technology that they may or may not have implanted in her or within proximity of her, would be to first focus on eating healthy, whatever that looks like for you. Hydrate with alkaline water and magnesium to flush out heavy metals, and exercise at least weekly. That way, your body can naturally regulate any unwanted toxins. If you want to take it a step further, look into some grounding meditation and breathwork techniques to help get your blood and cerebral spinal fluid moving in a healthy manner. Overall, do not succumb to the negativity and live your life confidently and joyfully, because no person is above the Creator. What they're doing to you will be punishable. They shall meet their fate as well. And I stand by that. I mean, live your life, do what you can, fight back in the ways you can, but also know that the evils that men do, generally speaking about humans, will not go unpunished. Everybody will meet their fate. And so if they are tormenting you, just know that although they think they rule the world and us, they don't. They are our siblings, our damaged and deranged siblings who believe they rule this world, but the truth is they don't rule anything. And they too will meet their end and their fate. And it's not going to be a good day for them. And so that's what I had to say to her. And she responded with some more information that I think is important to say or to read. She said, "Thank you so much for responding. It is believed in the TI community, targeted individual, not TI the rapper. Hey, what you know about that? What you know about that? CIA knows all about that because they're tapping your phone and house." All right, anyway. It is believed in the TI community that they make use of military satellites to send down waves of some sort to affect the electrical part of the brain. It is also rumored that they have gained this technology from aliens, so we will see if they announce any alien contact soon. And that's pretty wild because this was back in August of this year. So yes, they did admit that. And so it's rumored that the aliens gave us this, and they'll announce the contact soon. They actually are able to make objects appear and disappear and change composition. You mentioned a holographic hologram. Apparently, even though you said in your podcast you do not believe in Satan or demons, it is rumored that the groups using the technology do research for the CIA, but are also satanic. And even after the female victims pay, they continue to torture. I do try to exercise, and I am a vegetarian. I am actually considering becoming a nun to escape these men from getting at me. I have to admit the pain is so intense that I have had suicidal thoughts, but for now I persevere. I was hoping you could recommend some sort of shielding material for my brain. If not, we do live eternally. Anyways, I know this is all far out, but because there is a concentrated effort to make all documents say TIs have psychological issues, they are able to prevent us sharing the information, so on and so forth. And so again, this is severe here. You know, this is a woman here who's being attacked, you know, who believes she's being attacked, and she said she's dealt with suicidal thoughts. You know, and I get a lot of messages like this, man. And again, I'm honored for all of you to come to me with your questions and your situations. You know, but it's a tough position to be in. And I've been in this position not only just digitally, but in person. I've had to be there for people suffering these things in real life. I myself have suffered similar things in real life. And first and foremost, if you are suicidal, put any and all drugs and alcohol away right now as best as you can and seek help. Call somebody, go somewhere. Do not sit alone with those thoughts. Do not sit alone with those thoughts. They are not worth it. And so that's why I wanted to treat this one with this particular delicacy because delicacy. I mean, I wanted to treat this particular situation with that cautiousness because it gets real out there. You know, people really do suffer and end up taking their lives. And so my main message will always be try to accept what's happening to you. And I'll even go as further as to say, seek community, you know, seek some positive community that will help you in accepting this and coping with it. And just focus on living a good life. Focus on what you can change about your life. Don't worry too much about it. You know, if it gets really bad, I guess at that point you'd have to bring in some law enforcement, right? So, but that's always up to you because a lot of times the law enforcement will deem you 5150 and it can get worse that way. So I would say seek familial help first, family and friend help first, and online help from similar individuals first, and just try to cope with it and move through it and find ways to enjoy your life. All right, so that was the first inquiry. The second inquiry is about how we can escape this matrix, per se. So I got this message a while back on Instagram. This person said, how do we escape this mouse trap? I feel sorry for the majority of people lost inside this maze. And my response at the time was, well, I believe it starts with studying the true history of this earth and our hidden past. Once we've understood that, then we have to come to self-realization and understand what we are outside of this body and earth. Once those two are accepted, the mission becomes leaving this place better off than we found it. To break the cycles, the individual responsibility is to elevate and strengthen the consciousness so that in our passing, we ascend instead of being recycled. And again, I stand by that. You know, it's how do we escape this mouse trap? Well, there's it's kind of a flawed question because there's no escaping the system. This world, this simulation was built by the system for the system. So there's really no escaping it other than in your perception and in your mind. Again, the main message here is acceptance. When you let go and accept your situation, from then you can build. If you're constantly looking at the four walls and how can I escape? How can I escape? You're going to drive yourself crazy. And so there is no escaping the matrix. There's only fortifying your own mind and consciousness and soul while you're in it, so that no matter what happens to you while you're in it, you contain that divine essence of yourself. And when you pass from this realm, you are able to move further than the samsara recycling trap. So technically, if you want to escape the matrix, what you do is you become the best person you can in this life while you're here now. You know, leave this place better off than you found it in all ways. Elevate your mind, your body, your overall health. You know, be good to people, be good to those around you, and fortify your mind and consciousness and pass that on, because eventually, although the system will always exist, at least in this current yuga cycle that we're in, good people can still exist, good experiences can still exist, good situations can exist, you know, and so we can build that together. We can build a heaven while we're here in this system. You know, it's not linear, right? Like, yeah, sure, there's Babylon, there's the American government, there's all these world governments around the world doing all kinds of messed up stuff, but we can still build community. We can still have our little corner of this strange earth and enjoy it and utilize it while we can as a resource, as a sanctuary to do the inner work. You see, the mousetrap in which you speak of is the corporatocratic world of owners and slaves. The corporatocratic world is where the mousetrap really is, because in that world, people are so caught up in working, so caught up in trying to achieve these flawed values of riches, fame, so on and so forth, that they completely miss the idea and purpose of this life, which is to simply enjoy it, genuinely enjoy it, and take that enjoyment a step further, and not only just enjoy it, but create a foundation in which you, your family, your friends, and the people of this earth can ascend in the simple praising and thanking of the Creator and the fact that we're here. And so when you take whatever resource you have, whatever you have available to you, and start looking at it as abundance and resource rather than, oh, this is all I have, it's not much, I can't get out of here, and you will shift your mindset, your perspective, and you can start building. You know, you can only build a castle one brick at a time. So again, to escape the mousetrap is to not get so caught up in the 9 to 5 grind that you forget to live and forget to think, forget to relax, and forget to actually sit back and ponder what this all is. And most importantly, don't get so caught up in the 9 to 5 mousetrap that you forget to pay homage and respects to the Creator and build that connection with the Creator, because that energy, that connection is what will save your ass in the end. So again, just enjoy it, man. Enjoy while we're here. Don't get too caught up in the elites and all the corruption they're doing. They will find their punishment eventually. Enjoy what you can while you can. And remember to take the moments of clarity to give thanks and praise to the Creator and strengthen that connection. Um, this person went on to say, but the key is the wisdom of how do we attain self-realization. Many people are also lost in Messiah trap when some guru assures them with that, but in the end, it is control and mind games of some sort for the benefit of those people in hierarchy. Yeah, absolutely. We're all human, man. That's what I'm saying. Don't let some guru or whatever, any person, human, trick you into believing that they're the savior, the Messiah. They might have some useful information, some practical, valuable information, but never bow or worship another person. Everything you need is already within you. You might just need a little guidance to that information. And so what I responded to that was, self-realization is a laborious task which can take a lifetime. It really can. I mean, that's pretty much the whole purpose. That's why it takes a lifetime. And most people miss that completely. And by the time it's all over, they're like, damn, I missed the assignment completely. The rich and powerful are not the elite. They are not the 1%. Those who take it upon themselves to reach self-realization and ascend this body are the real elite and the real 1%. From what I can see, not many have ever reached that state. Sadly, most of us will be recycled energy, and even worse than that, trapped within the simulated Archon universe. I'm guilty of being a part of the mass as well, but I'm trying and day by day fighting these inner battles to break the cycles. And you're right, following false teachers is just another trap. That's why it's such a difficult task, especially these days where there are so many more agendas with social media and technology. Again, these leaders of the world, they're not leaders. They're not the 1%. The real 1% are the people who have ascended, the ascended masters, the Christ figures. Those are the real elite, the real 1%. And it's funny here because they asked me, have you been doing any ascension practice or techniques? And I said, honestly, I have not as of recently. I've been frequently meditating just to keep my spirit in practice. I have a busy work life with my 9 to 5 and my art life. See, even I was guilty of it right then and there, like it's very easy to get caught up in the 9 to 5. And obviously it's necessary while we're here to take care of our secular responsibilities. The way I see it, there are two options. Either we renounce all things and dedicate our life to ascension, as the mystics and monks do, or we cope with the system as a modern person and try to beat it at its own game. I have family responsibilities, so I can't just renounce all things and become a full-on mystic. However, I've put together a strategic plan on how to beat the system at its own game. And we'll be working hard on that for the next 5 to 7 years to become a sovereign entrepreneur, not relying on the system or a job. My goal is to achieve that so that the last half of my life, God given, can be more so dedicated to ascension and spiritual means. Eventually, I'd like to practice actually exiting my body through astral projection at will and practice chakra awakening and healing others. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do out there in practical ways to ascend and live a more spiritual life apart from the matrix while you're in the matrix. And me, I've kind of always been an on-the-go guy. And so I've had to take on, kind of on-the-go methods. And I personally am an existentialist, so I understand that everything is in my mind. So no matter where I'm at, no matter what's going on, all I really need to do is just pause, take a deep breath, go inside myself, and deprogram whatever's going on, deconstruct it, and shine forth my light from within and exude that confidently and know that I'll be all right. I don't worry about demons. I don't worry about the CIA. I don't worry about people coming to get me or whatever. I don't worry about death and all these things because I got a life to live, man. I got people and places to go see. I got people to hug, people to kiss, babies to hold, knowledge to give. And that all comes from within. That energy comes from within, man. So you got to find ways in this busy, crazy life, if you're going to be a part of the system, to be in the world, but not of it, as Christ said. All right, so let's get on to the last message, which came from a lovely young lady about how to deal with growing up in a religious family. This is a pretty long one. So she said to me, I don't know if you'll ever read this, but my friend just recommended the podcast Ancient Biblical Proof Satan Was an Alien because he knows I love this stuff. As I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, I'm not anymore. I just listened to it 2 times in a row while washing dishes at work, and I absolutely loved a lot of what you said. And I have so much more to research now, but I have a huge question for you. The only one that popped in my head: why can't some people know what is beyond? I really can't understand and never have. Most people can't accept new questions in their life unless they come to themselves. And I understand that even from a personal view, but I still was always open to listen and think of new thoughts from others, even from a young age. So why are some people so stubborn or resistant? It's like they're scared. I don't understand. I feel like this is a peace to have, and it's the actual goal we should all strive for in life. This personal peace in all and curiosity to keep asking questions. But why can't most people be exposed to this? It's too crushing for them, and I can see this when I try to explain things to my mom or dad. It's like death would be easier for them than new knowledge, and I simply can't understand what makes people like us different from people like them, and why we cannot help them to feel enlightened or give them some sort of peace and insight as to how things actually are in ourselves and around us. Powerful, powerful observation and question. And my response to her was, hello. Thank you so much for the support and for reaching out. I read all of my messages. I read all of my messages. I just can't guarantee that I can always respond quickly. I like your question, and I think there's some power to it. I think everybody has the capability to shift their paradigm towards new understanding. But for some, it'll be near impossible. I grew up in a religious family and believed in the perspective of the church. As a kid, I used to be so afraid of the book of Revelation. My cousin used to taunt me and read from it verbatim to make me cry. She really did. But it would turn out that for whatever reason, God, the creator, planned for me to eventually face that fear and overcome it and all others with knowledge. I made it a mission of mine to read that book, and not only read that book, but to understand what it was truly saying. And when I dived into it head on, I found that what I was fearing didn't exist. And even better than that, I found that what I perceived to be my enemy, or that which was blocking me from growing, actually held within it something that I could use as power to uplift my life. And that thing was knowledge. Through knowledge and understanding, we gain power in this life. The dark is only scary when you don't know what's inside of it. But I'm sure you know all of this. To answer your question more specifically as to why other people can't come to this conclusion, is because they are still fearing something. When I first learned about all of this controversial knowledge in my teen years, I used to go around and preach it to my friends and family. They all thought I was crazy. I was even nicknamed Demon by some girl in high school. And so later, I realized going out and preaching wasn't the way to go about it, but rather to slowly and subtly open people up to the new information. It's the same tactic the shadowy elite use on us through subliminal messaging and generational indoctrination. That's why it's important for us, no matter what, to pass on what we know through art, music, shared experience, and culture, so that the next generations can decode, download, and elevate the knowledge when they're ready. Unfortunately, some people will just never reach that point in life where they have that moment of clarity where they can start to see things from a new perspective because they're too caught up in the fear and mundane system that distracts them. Some of us, however, like you and I, are thrown into the fire and forced to see it so that we can be a balance of the dark and light, a contrast for which the curious can investigate. All in all, interestingly enough, the Bible says that the new kingdom of heaven will be here among us, but some will not see it. They literally will not sense it. At that point, the reptilian brain, the fear indoctrination, will have overtaken them. Hope this helps. Namaste. Yeah, that was just amazing. She had a great time with the conversation, and I believe that, man. It's like it's so delicate when we finally realize the truth about life. It's so delicate because not everybody gets that moment, the moment of clarity. When you finally sit back and realize who you are, what this is, what God is, and who the rulers of this world are pretending to be, and all of that, it breaks your mind, it breaks your paradigm, and can lead you down a dangerous rabbit hole, which can result in psychosis. But if you stand strong and go through that process with the belief in God or a higher power or love for your fellow people, you can get through it, and eventually you'll realize that the purpose isn't to know everything or to question everything per se, but is to simply understand that you have the power to rule your own life, make your own decisions, think for yourself. And so not everybody has that moment of clarity. Some people are so victimized in their own mind. I know people that are so victimized in their own mind that they can't even go and they can't even go look for a job by themselves. They literally need somebody to hold their hand to go find a job. And these people are not disabled or mentally slowed in any way. Healthy, normal adults who are just so victimized in their mind from what they've been through and the trauma, and honestly quite just lazy because they haven't had that moment of clarity of realizing how powerful they really are, and how easy it is to apply yourself in this life. Obviously, you can have huge goals which aren't easy to obtain, but to be able to apply yourself in small ways to get there is easy. But that's one side of the spectrum. People who are very victimized in their own mind and just will not sway from their perspectives. Then on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who aren't victimized, but the opposite, who are very arrogant, who hold high esteems for themselves and think that just because they've reached this level of success, they can't learn anything from anybody else. Nobody can teach them anything. They know the right way to do things. And then those people are the ones who end up getting humbled. And so that's why it's important, I think, to eventually just find that middle path. Because I was at a point where I was fanatical with all of this information and out there preaching it, going crazy. And then I went through a psychosis, and then a lot of other things that happened to me in life that humbled me as well. And so in the end, I found that, it's not about trying to know everything, question everything, and shake the sheeple up or whatever. It's simply about knowing the best piece of information, which is, one, there's a creator, and you're loved by the creator. You are a miraculous being. This is a miraculous opportunity that we have right now to be alive. And two, we should enjoy that, appreciate that, right? And through that understanding, appreciation, and love, accept our circumstances and move forward with what we can change. And for some people, diving deep into more information is okay. It's a part of their journey, such as myself. Actually, it's funny. I just got done doing the podcast interview today with the homie Matt Cox from Inside True Crime, and he looked at me and he was like, "Man, you're the type of person who just needs to know everything, huh?" And I laughed because kind of I might come off that way, and yeah, that's what led me to be the researcher that I am, but not so much anymore, And he was laughing because he was saying about himself, he's like, "I'm the type of guy where it's like, I don't need to know everything. I just need to know what it is, what it does, and I'm good." And that's cool, because this information isn't for everybody. This information can lead people down a dangerous, unhealthy path. And so for some people, it's just okay for them to just be a house mom or be a husband or whatever, It's okay. This isn't for everybody. The people who can handle this, people who have that desire, that fire within them, we've been called to take on this information, to process it, to break the trauma cycles, to take the information and transmute it and walk around and be physical walking beacons of light and energy that can help transmute the people around us. I got to a point with this where I didn't even need to bring up the information anymore. It was just good enough for me to be in certain people's presence with my energy and my loving compassion and understanding. That's it. That's all they needed, because in the end, that's the true piece of information. In the end, that is the final piece of knowledge that all dogma and esotericism can teach you. And it is that you can heal yourself and others. And you don't need to be a part of some secret society or some Facebook group or whatever. All you need to do is simply exude that energy. Exude that energy and lead by example. And eventually people will get curious. Hey, what's up with you? I mean, I see that you change, you're successful, or you got this aura about you. And then, yeah, maybe slowly you can work people up to some of the information and show them, well, hey, I actually used to think like this. I went through this, and now I think like this, and now I act like this. And they might see it in themselves to want to take on that path as well. So anyway, that concludes another Thursday Q&A coming live from Florida, California. Florida. Oh man, I'm missing home right now. I got to catch a flight in the morning. I love y'all. Peace.